Hi friends, welcome back to week 3 of Journey Through Palmistry, Know Thy Hand. Welcome back, I'm Carla, aka Miss Kulala. This week we're going to go a little bit deeper into the mystical layers of the palm by exploring the symbols, the little marks in your hand. These are the little details like crosses, stars, triangles, squares, and they show up on your mounts and your lines. And while they may seem small, they carry a huge energetic message. A star on the Mount of Jupiter. Does that mean you're destined to lead? A cross on the heart line, maybe that could be a soul contract, maybe a karmic lesson somewhere, an emotional imprint, definitely. A triangle, I'd say that's a sign of good luck, but it could be a sign of spiritual protection or latent talent. So I've also created another worksheet to go with week 3, so to help you track these little auspicious signs, maybe not auspicious sometimes, but that way you can reflect on their meanings and tap into the soul wisdom that's lying there, and also another tarot spread. So click that link in the description. I usually put it in the comment too. In my pinned comment. So look for the link to the worksheet, grab your worksheet, and study your palms again. And let's see what messages are written in the hidden signs in your hands. So also let's keep it going in the comments, what you find. So let's dig into the worksheet. All right, so we got common palm markings and their meanings. So we got crosses, which are turning points, spiritual crossroads, or karmic protection. They can be struggles, okay? Stars are divine gifts, psychic openings, destiny markers. It's pretty much called the stars of fortune for a reason. There's only one place that you don't want to find the star, and that is right there in the Mount of Saturn. We'll talk about that. Triangles. These are natural talents, energy focus, psychic protection. Squares, healing, safety, spiritual containment. Grills, energy drains or emotional sensitivity. On the Mount of Venus, it does show a lot of anxiety, because that's an area of physical connection. Islands, confusion, emotional processing, vulnerability, and we do see those a lot on the heart line. Chains, repeating patterns, or karmic loops. We definitely see a lot of that on the heart line. Breaks are turning points, changes of direction, and healing crisis. So when you see a break, you want to notice where that is in the line, and remember what I told you about your timeline. That's very important, because it kind of shows one, it could be a major oh goodness, I'm getting a message. Anyway, I'll have to check that out in a second. You're definitely going to want to pay attention to breaks, especially on the lifeline, because it can show like a time when you just didn't have energy. It could show a time where maybe you had surgery, maybe you broke a bone or something. On the headline, it shows like a mental break. In the heart, it shows like a time of where you might have felt numbness, or so if you understand what I'm getting at, it shows a break in what that is. A break here in the fate line shows like a break in like job career. A fork shows like a decision was made, a change. So breaks are very important to look at. Dots are specific events or impactful memories. So again, we do want to pay attention when we find these marks on our lines, that we create a timeline. And remember, I told you the timeline is at the beginning of the line. So the beginning of the line for your lifeline is right here, and that starts at 0, and then at the bottom of it is 80. So then anything, you know, you would just cut it in half. At the middle would be 40, middle of that would be 20, and vice versa. So beginning to end is important because that's 0 to 80. The headline is over here, starts in the beginning, right on top of the lifeline where that starts. That's 0 to 80 at the end of that. It ends in the moon somewhere. Your heart line, on the other hand, starts over here underneath Mercury. So that's 0 over here and 80 at the end of it, wherever it lands up in here. Your fate line, 0 would be down here where it starts, somewhere on top of the wrist, and going up would be the end of it. I will tell you that it's not 0 to 80 on your fate line. That is 0 here, about 35-40 at the headline, and approximately 50-55 on the heart line. And then of course after that is just after that. So yeah, that's your timeline. So then you're going to want to put down where you observe these marks. So you're going to look at the location, whether it's on the mount, and what line it's on. Intuition line, it is important because we did discuss that line. Same with the sun line, same with, so, you know, we talked about the Mercury line or the hepatica. So it would be important to see if you like have a cross there, even though those are considered minor lines. But for the main part of this, the most important that you want to look at are your major lines, which again are life, head, heart, and fate. Intuition line, it comes and goes. And so does your sun line, or hepatica, and intuition line. Those are minor. So, but it is good to know, right? And definitely what you see on your mount is really important. So it doesn't necessarily have to be on a line. It can just be like, look, I have a star right here in my moon. And a star is anything that is more than a cross. So like 2 lines cross each other, a star can be 3 lines crossing each other. So that's just something to remember. Then you've got your journal prompts. Which marking have you found on your hand that feels important, even if you don't know why yet? Okay. Number 2, have you noticed any symbols that seem to guard a mount or a line? We're using our intuition here, right? Number 3, what would it mean for you to have a star, cross, or triangle in a visible place? Use what you know thus far. Are there any energy drains or wounds shown in the markings of your palm? Again, use what you know and your intuition. Do you feel any of these symbols are related to past lives or spiritual gifts? Now, if you are right-handed, then the left hand might show more of your past life. If you're ambidextrous, it gets muddled. I would definitely, again, have somebody throw something at you and see what you instinctively catch it with. That would be your dominant. I would go with the opposite hand to find past life markings. That's just something to remember and something to consider as you're journaling. Number 4, the tarot spread. All right, let's get into it. All right. I picked my light seers because there are symbols in it. You know, it's kind of builds upon the Rider-Waite-Smith. I know there's a lot of symbolism. So I would say pick a deck where there is a lot of symbolism. And then just see what the tarot is trying to tell you. Because the first question is what symbol is most active in my life right now? And I noted in there because really what we're looking for is the tarot to identify what repetitive symbol could possibly be trying to tell you. So in other words, it's still a message that in other words, we're not looking for that symbol in here. We're trying to identify what it is that this repetitive symbol is trying to tell you. So let's see how intuitive the tarot is in helping us with understanding, right? So what symbol that is repetitive in my hand, what is that telling me? What does that tell me? Is there a repetitive symbol, and what is it telling me? You know, I mean, obviously there's a lot of repetitive symbols in your hand. You're going to want to look at the most. Okay, there we go. 9 of Swords. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now that if you have a water hand, I guarantee you're going to see a lot of crosses, you know. I have a lot of crosses. I may not have a water hand, but I have a lot of crosses. And swords are very indicated of that. It's also very mental. So Mercury over here. Are there a lot of lines on Mercury? Either way, crosses, I would say swords would represent crosses and represent air. Yeah, and you're definitely, this is air right here. And then of course your headline. I also have a lot of islands. I have there's some stars, there's some triangles, but there's a lot of marks on my headline. There's a lot of marks on my I mean, I have them everywhere. I have crosses everywhere. The big cross that everybody asks about is the mystic cross that's right here between the head and the heart line. It's mystical because what it does is it connects the head and the heart. So pay attention to that. And it's the X that literally connects them. That is the mystical cross. And most people do have it, you know. Yeah, so note that it connects the head and the heart. That is the mystical cross. So what is that trying to tell me? I think of the 9 of Swords as, I mean, being obsessed with something, overthinking something. And is that accurate for me? It is. It is. There's some things that I can't let go that I need to work on. And I do have to work harder at letting go and overanalyzing. That is accurate. That is accurate. If you have a lot of crosses, and especially a lot of markings here and a lot of markings on your headline, it does show that. When we turn something into a positive, it can, you might see the triangles. I see the triangles. That's turning those lessons into something that was beneficial. You know what I mean? I didn't let it take me to the dark side, so to speak. Yeah, so I'd say that's pretty accurate. All right, the next question. What lesson or story does this symbol want to teach me? What does it want to teach me? Because again, you can always turn those negatives into a positive, especially if you're seeing triangles on your, like, are those X's making a triangle? You know, or do they stand alone? So what lesson or story does this symbol want to teach me? Huh. Wow. Holy smokes. Okay. That's, gosh, yeah. Not every secret do I need to know, okay? Oh my gosh, this is definitely calling me out. I don't need to know everything that's going on in, say, it's my kids' lives, or, you know, even Bob, you know, like I don't like secrets. That's why my Neptune is, you know, huge, okay? I don't like secrets, and I will get to the nitty-gritty of it, but I don't always have to, right? I don't always have to, because that does create this right here. Yeah. That is so stinking accurate, because you think I'm happy with that answer? No. All right. What part of me is ready to integrate this wisdom? Let's see, shall we? Since my tarot's calling me out. What part of me is ready to integrate this wisdom? Oh my goodness. What part of me is ready to integrate this wisdom? Let's take the top card, okay? That is so what part of me? Gosh. Knight of Wands. What part of me is ready? That speaks of impatience, right? So what part of me is ready? What? It's almost like saying it's not ready, but begrudgingly so, maybe. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about the Knight of Wands right there? Because that speaks of impatience, right? So what part of me is ready? Maybe I'm ready to have more patience with people when they don't come forth with truth, or am I just ready to let it go? Am I more ready to let it go? I guess I know that answer. I mean, man, holy smokes, what the heck? Should I be sharing this with you? Yeah, I guess so. It's part of being real, right? What energetic shift is coming as I embrace this marking? What energetic shift is coming as I embrace this? I guess I have to embrace it first, right? Well, let's see. What energetic shift is coming as I embrace all these X's? What OMG. Can't make this stuff up, can you? Can you? Oh my gosh. You know, it's the truth. I mean, there is no denying it, really. I mean, I know better. I think most of us know better that patience with people, right? And we don't have to know everything. Especially if it doesn't have anything to do with us, right? Look inside, right? Look inside. Wow. Gosh darn it. All right. What is the soul message hidden in the symbol? Okay. What is the soul message? Well, you've been telling on me this far. You might as well keep telling on me. What is the soul message in the symbol? Oh my gosh. I burden myself. I overburden myself. I know that I do this. It's not just in my physical self. It's also in my mental self. You know, I've talked about this before. People pleasing isn't just, you know, people think it's not saying how you really feel, because that I don't have a problem with. I still have a hard time saying no when it comes to doing things. You know what I mean? Because I don't have a problem vocalizing how I feel. Those days are over. Those days are over when it comes to keeping things inside. That's what I'm working through now, is overburdening when it comes to like time. What is the soul message hidden in the symbol? And then I get the 10 of Wands. To me, it means, you know, letting the overanalyzing or the struggles in my life burden me when, you know, honestly, I don't need to know everything. I can go inside and find the answers. I don't have to find them in what someone else isn't telling me. And that is honestly the truth. You know, I don't know. I can't speak for anyone else, but I know that there's certain things that, like, I feel like, you know, being a truth seeker, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but being a truth seeker, it's like, I want to understand. And it's not just knowledge. and truth seeking, it's also like you. I want to understand you. I want to understand my children. I want to understand my mate. I want to understand why. But that starts with me. It starts with me more than anything else. So if I'm not having all the answers, I can't let it burden me. And I need to learn to have more patience with other people, because I can't control what other people got going on. That's going to cause me to do this. Yeah. Well, it's recorded. You saw it here first. This is a vlog also, right? So I can go back and go, man, where was that reading? Well, it's on my YouTube. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you take a look and, you know, put down where you see these, you know, where did you find your X's, where did you find your squares, and go back and look at what it means, and remember what we talked about with the mounts. And then I want to, you know, maybe next week we can go over what that means to you, like maybe some for instance type thing. But we'll see. You know, you might, I think a lot of you are already understanding, just from what we have talked about so far, that if you see a square on Jupiter, you know, for me, I have a square on Jupiter. Oh, and a diamond is a square. Just so you know, a diamond is a square. If it looks like a diamond, it's a square. It's protection, right? It can also be a prison. If you see it on your headline, it might be a period, wherever that square is, of mental prison of sorts. If you see it on your lifeline, it could be a bit of you might have been protected in that area, but it could be a disassociation type thing. So use your intuition. The star of fortune is not good fortune. When you see it on Saturn, why? Why, you might ask? It usually means the ending of something, and that's why you have fortune. And usually it means not having to take care of somebody. It could mean a death. It could mean somebody walking away and you don't have that burden anymore. And that's the only reason why you are finding a star of fortune. It's not really fortune. It's sorry, I was distracted. It means it's the ending of that service to something, and that's why it's fortunate. So here again, question why you might see a star of fortune on your Saturn mount when you know what Saturn is. Everywhere else is extremely fortunate. In the moon, oh my goodness, it means you're going to have good fortune in, you know, not just bringing things to light. It's your inner self. It's manifesting your inner desires. It's being true to yourself. It's fulfilling. It's creative. A star of fortune on your fate line means that you're going to do something that you are definitely going to be remembered for. A star of fortune here in Apollo could mean fame. You know, it's not just success, it's fame. So yeah, here on Jupiter, it means that probably a very fulfilling career. Definitely, if you see it here in Venus, it means, like, you know, fortune with your relationships, probably a very good marriage, or just a good relationship with your family or your kids. But the star of fortune is a temporary thing. So I want to show you something real quick, because Tony from Antoinette Jewelry and Tarot, or Tarot and Jewelry, Tony sent me some pictures of her hand so that I could compare them to a reading that I did for her, I think almost 2 years ago. And I want to show you a little trick. Okay, if you have Canva, I have the pro version, but it really doesn't matter if you have that or not. So go to home. I I guess it really doesn't matter. You can go to create a thumbnail if that's whatever. Just go to where you're creating something. And then you're going to want to go to your camera roll and let's see. I think it would be in a recent. Yeah, so let's go here and add that to the page. Now let's get rid of that. Okay, these were from a while ago. A couple years ago.
So
okay, so an updated picture. So let's grab that and let's add it to the page. Okay, now let's get rid of that. Okay, so they're not exactly the same, but I think I can line them up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this picture right here and I'm going to make it transparent, and then I'm going to line it up as best I can. So it's not going to be exact, but you can tell which lines are, where are we at here? Okay. Right. It's pretty darn close. So, and just, you can see if any lines, you get the idea. You can do that and kind of see if the lines have changed. And that's just for your, for you to check out. It's extremely interesting. If you know, you might not be able to do this right now, but take pictures now and then retake them in a couple weeks and just see what you find. Because yeah, your lines can change from day to day, the minor ones. Same with, you know, if you got pictures of your mounts, or just by feeling them, you know, re-feeling them in a month. It's just, this is for you. I do think that palmistry is very enlightening. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. I think it's extremely interesting. I think this tarot reading called me out. So yeah. Let me know what you thought in the comments. You know, palmistry is very much part of my legacy, just like a job. And so I approach it like that. It's very important to me. Everything that I've learned is very important. I sell readings, you know, so I make it my business to be extremely informed, and that's how serious I take it. So I hope that you are learning a lot about yourself and possibly learning about others around you, you know. So that's what I got, and I think I already talked a lot. And I will see you in week 4, and thank you so much for being here and following along.